Hey, what's going on, everybody? So I've got kind of an interesting one here, a little bit of a departure from what I normally do, you know, the unboxings and whatnot. So these are 3 knives that have been given to me to take care of, sharpen, clean up, whatever. So I just wanted to take time now to go ahead and show them to everybody, and then we'll cut to a time-lapse video or hyperlapse video, probably, just because time-lapse, I don't know if it'll work out or not. But either way, it'll be a multi-part video that I'll stitch together and kind of show everybody what gets done with these. So we'll start with the easiest one first. This was actually my CJRB, and if you can see, look at it with the lights here. Let's see if I can't help out a little bit. Let's see if that helps out any. Yeah. So you can see the blue tint on the carbon fiber. So this was a knife that I just kind of experimented on. I didn't know if you could make this carbon fiber or if you could kind of, for lack of a better word, dye the carbon fiber, and it did exactly what I thought it would do. The spots that were lighter, it took a little bit of dye, and I just kind of roughed the scales up a little bit. I don't know if that helped or hindered or what, but anyway, we'll take a look here at the blade so you can see the reason why this one's in here. So I am going to take care of some sharpening on this one. See, it's got a little bit of a roll there towards the tip. So you can see a little bit better on this side. There's a little roll. And some anywhere you see that light glinting off the top, like there, right here on the very tip, right here, and then from here, kind of all the way down. Anywhere you see that light glinting off, that's a rolled edge, it's unsharpened. So we are going to take care of that. That'll be the project for tonight. These Kickstart knives are pretty cool. D2 steel, you know, nothing crazy, but for the money, they're really cool. And then they've got that fidget factor that kind of I can't remember what they call this lock, but it's, you know, scorpion lock, or, you know, whatever, that kind of feel, you know, shark lock, whatever. But it's actually a crossbar lock. It's just, it uses this carriage system here. So it uses that carriage system to actuate. It's like got a little bit of a kick down, and it breaks. It has the access bar right here that locks and unlocks the knife, but it uses this carriage to activate it. Pretty cool design. Awesome blade shape. Anyway, my buddy won this in a raffle that I did a while back. So that's project number 1 for tonight. Project number 2 I've been sitting on for a little while. I'm going to go ahead and take all these off screen so it's easier for it to focus. So this one I've been sitting on for a little bit. So this one actually comes from my supervisor. He found this out on his property, and it was sitting, you know, just like this in the mud. Actually, I think it was sitting this side up, but no telling how long it had been sitting there. So it's just it's a straight old timer. Needs a little bit of love. I don't know how old it is. I'm gonna have to get it taken apart, but he actually said once I get it cleaned up and everything, that I can keep it. However, I think if I get it cleaned up and it turns out really good, I'm still going to offer it to him to see if he wants it. But of course, if he doesn't, then I'll take it as a gift, and it'll be part of my forever collection, because things like that really mean a lot to me. So The next one we'll go on to is from my same buddy Nick that is having me sharpen that knife. This is, I believe, his son-in-law's knife. I'm not sure which, but it's just a normal stainless. I don't know if it has a brand. Let's see. Yep, there it is. It's Bar Creek. Just a little. I think this is a Trapper. I'm terrible with traditional folders as far as what they are. I know a few, but I believe this is a Trapper if I'm not mistaken. All I'm going to do with it is I'm going to let it soak in my solution for a little while to see if there's any corrosion in here in the springs and any corrosion inside, which I believe there is. Let's get this thing opened up here. Let's see, where's my light? This little light of mine. Yeah. So you can kind of see down in there, there's some corrosion and things that we're going to take care of. A lot of dirt and buildup. So I'm going to get in and clean all that out. Like I said, I'm going to let this soak in my solution for a little while. Take care of any of that rust. And then, of course, sharpen it up and do all that. Like I said, it's all going to be a multi-part video. And the last one, the one I'm kind of the most excited about, the one I think is really cool. This is an old, I believe it's 70s, 80s, not sure. This company is called Colonial. Let's see if we can get that to focus. There you go. So Colonial from Providence, Rhode Island. It's called the Barlow. Yes, it is a Barlow. Used to have, you'll see them, how I was able to identify them, you'll see them, they'll have, just different, like, store names or whatever. These were, like, advertisement knives. So this one had Mechanics something another on it. You can see where it was, looks like it was kind of ground down a little bit, scraped off maybe, I don't know. So I'm gonna try to do something with this one. I don't know if I'll be able to restore the scales or not. What I may do is I may try to dye the scales. I don't know if I'll be able to polish them out because those gouges are really deep and I don't want to mess too bad with the rivets. So I may see what I can figure out. The bolster's a little loose, so I'm going to try to go in and see if I can figure out how that, if it's like peened in or what, but I don't see how it's captive or not. So actually, yeah, I do now. It's got a pin in it, so probably won't be able to do anything with that because I don't plan on taking this knife fully apart. Just cause I'm worried that I might not be able to get the right pins and stuff for it. So but I'll definitely be taking care of the blades, getting them cleaned up, getting action. I mean, surprisingly for as bad as it is, and you can tell it's a well-made knife because it's still, I mean, this is in way worse condition than this guy, and this one doesn't even, I mean, it really doesn't even have half the click-clack as the other one. I mean, so, I mean, you can hear the, so, this one still has a little bit of walk and talking left in it, so we'll see if we can't get it to walk and talk a little better, a little prouder. But yeah, so those are the projects that I have for this coming week. Yeah, right now it's Sunday night as I'm filming this. I've got 3 days left of work. Actually, no, I'm working overtime, so I've got 4 days left of work, and then I've got some days off, so I will do these 3 this week while I'm off into next week, or this week and into the next weekend. while I'm off, so probably Friday night, Saturday night, so on and so forth. This one I've got to get done and get back to my buddy so he can have a knife to use at work. So, all right, guys. Well, I appreciate it. Next time you'll see me, I will have you'll be seeing me sharpening on this, and then we'll, like I said, we'll take care of these in a later date. So, all right. See you soon. All right, guys. So I've got set up here for my my sharpening setup. I usually don't have my mat here, but I don't feel like getting it out of the way. So the stand, the Work Sharp old system. So you just clamp in your knife. You always try to get it, flat or as flat as you can, about 50-50 on your blade length. Try to get the edge at a 90 degree with your clamp, so something along those lines. Clamp her in. Looks pretty close. Okay. And I use the little stand that came with my come with those. So this is where we're going to fast forward. Use well, I'll start here with this. So I do have my little 3D printed holder, and we'll start going with, just because I don't know what angle is set, I'm starting with 200 grip. So alright, so we'll go ahead and start fast forwarding now. I will show the grits to the camera as we go. I'll try to hold them in there long enough for people to see what I'm using, but now we'll go ahead and fast forward this, probably 10 times speed, just so you aren't getting super bored. But alright, and here we go. Okay, so here you're going to see me switch over to a 80 grit stone. The 200 grit cuts really well most of the time, but this blade had some pretty severe damage on it, and the factory grind was way off of 20 degrees, which I do all my sharpening at 20 degrees. I find that's the best for a pocket knife, but that's why I had to switch over here to that 80 grit. I absolutely hate the sound of the 80 grit stone on a knife, but it was a necessary evil today to get this knife to where I wanted it. And so, just in case you're not familiar with sharpening, I kind of always forget that not everybody is, seeing my videos is, into knives or knows everything about them or knows anything about them. So what you're seeing me do here a lot of the times after, right before I flip the blade over, I'm just checking to see if there's a burr on the side, on the underside of the blade. So right there you see me checking that. So anytime as you're sharpening the blade, you're going to fold over that steel onto the other side, so you're feeling for that blade, and then when you flip the knife over, you're breaking that bead of steel off of the edge, which is what sharpens the knife. You'll also see me there put some oil on the bar for my stone holder. It's a really tight fit, and I have to keep some KPL heavy on that bar. Otherwise, the sharpening stones don't like to move that well. But we're slowly progressing through the grits. We'll go all the way down to a 3000 grit, and then we'll move over to my lapping compounds. So I'll be back here in just a moment to get to that part. So here I'm just going to pull the blade out and just kind of do a look at the so far at the grind, which, you know, we're getting pretty close to being done now. So the grind definitely is looking a lot better. The edge is looking a lot smoother. So we're getting close. All right, so here you're going to see me change up a little bit on how I'm sharpening. So instead of the more erratic back and forth, I'm going to be doing more of a from heel to tip and one swoop. Usually I'll go from heel to half of the knife and then from halfway up the knife to tip separately, just because I want to make sure that I'm getting each section very thoroughly. And what this does is it allows you to keep the micro serrations that are created by the stone in a uniform direction, which allows the knife to cut that much better, especially when you go to the extent of, you know, going to a somewhat of a mirror polish. Alright, now we've loaded up our final stone. So this is our 3000 grit stone. So we're getting really close to moving, changing over to our lapping compound, or excuse me, our lapping films. So just about to the edge here, and I noticed there was a little bit of rollover on the tip. So I'm just going back and trying to take care of that and seeing how that does. So now again, like I said, we're going over to our lapping film. So there you can see we're going to be using 8,000, 14,000, and 60,000. And we're going to go right back to speed up here. So as with these, what you want to do is you can't go across the edge. You have to pull down from the, down across the edge. So going from the spine of the knife down to the edge, you can't. You have to use it sort of like you're stropping. So if you're sharpening on a leather belt or anything like that, you have to come away from the edge. You're sharpening away from the edge and not towards it. And so with these, I go through all three grits at one time, and then I'll flip it back over just to make sure there isn't any sorts of a burr formed on that edge. Now I'm just taking it off, and we're going to go back to live here in just a moment. So now we've got it slowed back down. I'm not really talking at this point, so that's why I'm doing the voiceover. But there you can kind of see the edge has definitely got a lot of a polish to it. We have corrected any of the edge issues. And here in a second, we're going to be doing a sharpness test. My usual sharpness test is will it shave? And before I even take it out of the clamp, I test it, and it will definitely shave effortlessly. So this knife gets my stamp of approval, and we should get back to talking here shortly. Alright, so that concludes the sharpening portion of this. Just getting everything put back up now. So this one I went a little more than what I usually do. I did what I do on my knives. Anytime I'm doing something for a friend of mine or anything like that, I usually go to the same extreme that I go to for my own personal knives. which I don't sharpen my knives very, very often to that extent, but when I feel like it, that's what I do. So I just wanted to take care of this knife to that extent. This has become a very long video, even with the speed up, just because I went, like I said, I went kind of crazy on it. So we'll do the other knives on another day. I'll do those at a different time on a different platform. I'm doing a separate video for those. This is just water in an alcohol bottle. Helps me clean up afterwards, and then I'll use, if I need to, I'll use alcohol, but it just allows the paper towel to soak up the metal shavings and stuff pretty easily. And I guess there was still a little bit of alcohol in there because it smells like alcohol. That'll help it dry. So I'll get this cleaned up. Get that cleaned up and get it dry. And then we'll bring the knife back in. Sorry, didn't mean to bump y'all. Come on, stop. There we go. Alright. Okay, the blowing part is done. So let's get our knife back in here. So, as you can see, we've got a beautiful edge on this thing, front to back. Factory edge grinds were a little off on this thing, but you know, not too bad. The one spot that kept giving me problems was right here, and you can kind of see it. I didn't want to keep grinding on it. Because even with my 80 grit, I wasn't getting all the way up to the edge of the bevel. So you can see here. Come on, camera, focus. You can see right there where the factory grind is still just a little bit prevalent. That little strip of light gray right there. That's where the factory grind still is. Couldn't quite get that out. But this is pretty hard D2. CJRB usually does really good on their D2. So D2 is not the funnest thing in the world to sharpen, but it does hold an edge pretty okay. You can kind of see on that side too the same issue where there's that light gray line that runs right here at the heel of the blade, and that's just where I couldn't quite get that ground down. I didn't want to eat any more of the blade. That's why I had to switch over to the 80 grits, because I just wasn't getting where it needed to be. But you guys already seen, I mean, it's super razor sharp. It shaves like a razor blade. You know, paper test doesn't really do much more than, but that's it's very, 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 very sharp. That's basically going to, which if I wanted to, I could have spent a little more time on it, actually gotten to that same extent that I've done before, where it's literally mirror polished. That's just kind of a pain in the butt to get to. It takes a lot of time, at least on my system anyway. I know my buddy Tony Kim, Knife Ninja, which if you don't know who he is, you're living under a rock, because he's not only a really cool dude, super nice guy, but he is stupid good with sharpening. Like, that boy is just absolutely kills sharpening. he does these videos on his Facebook and on the groups and on Instagram and stuff where he's, you know, whittling a hair, which, I mean, this knife will probably do that now, but I don't feel like plucking out one of my beard hairs to find out. I ain't got no hair on top of my head long enough to, well, at least I'll do now, but normally I don't, but when I do, I don't have enough to actually whittle. But right now I'm just cleaning off the blade. All I ever use to clean off a blade is rubbing alcohol. So I'll strip all the oils and stuff off of it. That way I can really get a good sense of where the edge is at. Let's see if this will help me bring it in focus here. There we go. So, but with that being said, I think I'm gonna call it here. I'll probably take a little bit of oil onto the blade just to get a little light coat of oil back onto the blade, because, you know, D2 is prone to getting some specks of rust. But all in all, turned out pretty good. I know my buddy will be happy with it. He always is. I mean, Lord knows I'd be happy with it. That is a sharp one. So, in this case, in the words of Mr. Bees, he better keep a Band-Aid handy. Guys, gals, I hope y'all have an absolutely awesome, safe week coming up. But as I always close out, have a knife day. Take care.